Stream. Hello, welcome to everybody. Hello, stream. That's probably as good as I'm going to get on the ad break timing. If I hit it right away when it shows up, bad time. If I wait too long, then everybody's just waiting on me. You know how it is. Anyways, we're getting close to the end of ALIZARIN. I suspect we've got more to go before we're really well and truly done. I suspect there are miles to go before we sleep on this one. Particularly because, I didn't know that if you hit F1 you just got that. That's pretty sick. Honestly, I'm really impressed with this art in particular. It reminds me of, I think I've said it before, of Look Outside a little bit. Not quite the same, but there really is something really nice here on an artistic level. All right. The quick load button and quick loading. By the way, do we have the right ALIZARIN load? Shouldn't matter for map 30, but yeah, we're on release candidate E. So that's good. Alright. There it goes. It even popped back up fast. Good. Alright, for whatever reason, doesn't... Okay. Well, I guess we'll just go to... Yeah, I guess we'll just writhe in ALIZARIN's gaze and move from there. Yeah, we won't worry too much about that one. Yeah, I bet Kiefer.
I'd make sure it killed everyone in the room, including me.
Okay. Yeah, if my amplifier... Oh, God. Why is my Windows... Killed by Windows. Killed by Windows 10 pop-up. Good. Yeah.
If my amplifier was loud enough, I'd make sure it killed everyone in the room, including me.
Okay. Sick.
If my amplifier was loud enough, I'd make sure it killed everyone in the room, including me.
Alright, here we go. God damn.
Killed everyone in the room, including me.
These dudes hit like trucks.
If my amplifier was loud enough, I'd make sure it killed everyone in the room.
We get it,
me.
whoever you are. I wonder if that's supposed to be ALIZARIN. Grape says, good luck trudging through the snow, and Toast says, people please. Oh, indeed. We're suffering, but I'm gonna mid-fight save here. Toast 3D S'more says, this random voice clip is more hellish than the enemies. Oh, speaking of, thank you for the follow, by the way, Toast 3D S'more. I forgot to say thank you last time, so thank you this time. Okay. So says, of course, love your stream. Good to hear it, thank you. Okay. This is as good as we've ever had it, so we're just gonna... Very heavy noise soundtrack. Not that I'm mind. Okay. Damn, here's where it gets nasty. Okay, I think we have to take the other path. We have to hook a left so that we have enough health. Okay. I see something out there in the distance. It's the first time we've gotten this far. It'll take a little bit more than that to disturb me. Okay, in my defense, actually, that's pretty brutal. It says the iOS spawn is synchronized to the song, assuming you don't reload, though it gets out of time later on anyway. Toaster D says, it's a great visual representation of how it feels to chew 5 gum. I'd say that's valid. Gosh, I remember those ad campaigns. Oh god, I'm lost. We're in the chute. Hey! That looks bad. That is bad. Okay, we don't have a lot of time. Oh, the blood is instant death, I see. Oh my god. Cutting it close. Oof, I did not quite have enough room. Why did I save here? What was I thinking? Okay, we need... Okay. No, not quite. Oh, I see what I have to do. Okay. Okay, just because I see what I have to do doesn't mean I'm good enough to do it, though. Case in point. Okay. Where did I put myself? No. Okay. Okay. Oof! This one's tight. Ooh, God. Look at this. Tight timing window. To be fair, I whiffed that one. It needs to be... We need to start from here. Could be a troll, but somehow it doesn't feel like it. Okay, well, we've got the infinite BFG. Just how bad is it gonna get? I say, knowing... It can get real bad. So it says, I'm betting at least 3 enemies in the next encounter, maybe 4. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves either. Grape says at least 2. Okay. We need a red skull. Well, let's hope the red skull wasn't in there, because if it was... No, that's a longer jump. Wow, that was graceful. Like a swan, like an ollie off a swan dive. So, yeah. Okay, so that's what you had to do. And if you didn't figure that out, that's it. To be fair, it's not exactly what I would call a highly complex puzzle, is it? Oh, damaging floor. Bleach. Bible. Bleeble. Oh, that's right, this isn't an invul, it just looks like one. Toast says I 100% would have missed it. Grape says maybe it could help you get an invul though. Oh, right. Well, you know what? That's a lot more fair than rocket jump SR50ing to it. So it says, in this house we respect the Bleeble. I keep forgetting that there's multiple kinds of insta-kill floor in MBF 21. For some reason I expect that either it indiscriminately kills you or it doesn't do that. But the truth is... there's 2. Oh, Rorb, it's good to see you. Heresiarchs. Oh my god. So, there are advantages and disadvantages to the eye bleach. So says the difference in pain floors are subtle and nuanced. I mean, they kind of are. Okay, eye bleach, sprint. Okay, grab. Okay, see in the dark. You're not gonna know until it happens. We need to electrocute these dudes. We need to... Okay. Ooga dooga. Oh, where am I? I can't see. Oh, that's... See? We see both. We see a diversity of kill floors here. There's one that really kills you, and then there's one that kind of only kills you. Okay, save. Oh no. We are suddenly capable of death. Oh my god, this is pretty brutal. I actually don't know what I'm doing here. Ah, okay. What I'm doing here is grabbing another ALIZARIN altar, or another, yeah, another orb, and then just going for it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I hate to say it, but I don't know what I'm doing. Also, I realize we got invuln, so this is still invuln. This is no longer invuln. We gotta move. Oh boy, here we go. Nope, still dying. Okay. Okay. We're gonna die, probably. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna get cornered. That's what I thought. Okay, that's another fun way to get cornered. So it says, this looks the dream someone has after eating far too much spaghetti. Ironically, not with red sauce, though. Grape says, that was literally me last night, so fitting. Just listening to noise music and eating spaghetti directly out of a pan. Just directly a pot of spaghetti. This is my headcanon. Okay, Wyber demons. Oh hey. Oh god, oh hey. Ow. Wait a minute. Hold on. Jesus Christ. Okay. Wait a minute. Where's the switch? The switch is no longer here. Why is it no longer here? Oh, it's because I'm not on the right. That's a big cube. Is that the same size cube as usual? Why does it feel a different size? Oh my god. Alright, we need to go through there. Easier said than done, but... Toast says, along for spaghetti. I made a giant batch of beef stew a couple days ago. I've been trying to eat it all before it goes bad. Oh, I feel you. I haven't had pasta in a little bit, but I can't complain too much. My stepdad made brisket, and let me tell you what. Whew, that's some good brisket. Thank you, Cybe Rocket. I saw you, but I really didn't want to believe. Oh my god. The heresiarchs are just such a difficulty to deal with. Well, I don't know if we had to stay up there. Doesn't look like it. But we've got that for whatever that's worth. Okay. I have no goddamn idea what that one did. I have actually no goddamn idea what that one did. Okay, it's the same thing as before. Okay, maybe not. Well, I'm just back up there again. Cool, thanks. Alright, let's see. Okay, there's nothing up here for me. I don't think. Unless I just have to grab it, I don't know. Bastard, Cybe, but what can you expect at this point? Okay, is the blood pool still death? Not all of it is. Well, this seems death relatively, like, death adjacent, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not death, but it's within spitting distance. Death-related activity, perhaps? It says Deffer's related activities. And Toast said brisket is so good, top 3 barbecue meats for sure. It's ridiculous. Okay, to be fair, I shouldn't have expected that to succeed. On the other hand, it got fairly close to succeeding, so that's something. Goodbye. Okay. Oh, we got a lot of cybers. They're mostly screwing around out there. By and large, I would say that they're principally just dicking around. Okay, no. Okay, well, we'll save. Wait, where did you come from? Oh no, Bliber Demon. Oh, Bliber Demon. Bliber Demon. Bliber Demon has appeared. Well, that explains why we died. Oh yeah, we got incoming. Oh, you can survive the regular BFG. So it says dicking around is vital for death-adjacent activities. True. The more you think about it, the more true it gets, too. Altitude changes are important. This is ridiculous, but it works. Well, never mind. We hit a solid wall. Of Wyber Demon. Okay. Okay, we'll just loop around. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Though it says, I still have zero clue what the solution for this is. You and me both. Grape says, survival's a good start. Yeah, it's my primary goal right now. It's not going so hot. I'm trying to get to the red armors in time, but, well, maybe. Okay. No, we're getting there, maybe. Ooh. This dude is still laser focused on me, which is a shame, because this many Wyber Demons can get rid of him. Well, yeah, it's not a fair fight, but the Wyber Demon is definitely outnumbered. You see that? We can't get too close because of that. But yeah, he's managed to piss everybody off. He's the main character of Hell Twitter, or ALIZARIN Twitter. I don't know which. Okay. Stalactite or stalagmite. Ooh. When you think about it, you could easily make your own noise track out of truncated and repeated Cyber Demon death noises. Look at him go. I don't want to get too close in case he does that. SR50 will not be enough. Hey, there we go. Yeah, he's not gonna make it, probably. I don't think. I'm not sure what the cell packs are for. I guess if you wanted to try to do this without the infinite BFG. Look at he go. I don't even see him anymore. He's around, though. Where is he, exactly? Where did he go? Is he dead already? Like, I don't see him anymore. Grape says you can get one more invuln if you use the keys on something. Something. Well, hey, wait a minute. Oh, I was gonna say this is... No, this is still... Nope, no, we're good with that. Let's see. On something. This is an altar. Okay. To be fair, in their defense, that one was kind of amateur hour on me. Well, there's only so many things in this arena. This is a hurt floor. The only thing I can think of is the giant battery logo. Nope. Worth a guess. Hey, look at you. What are you? Well, you weren't an invuln, but you were almost as good. According to the kill count, we got 130%. I don't really know how the infinite Icon of Sin spawner worked, but I see it as plausible. Alright. We missed a secret, but I assume it had to do with the 3 keys. Now here's I see you. Like the old adage goes, red sky at night, sailor's delight. It doesn't feel real, but that odious icon was destroyed thanks to a great sacrifice. ALIZARIN's presence has diminished, but is it truly gone for good? The cherry red afterglow of this great calamity will linger for years, a sign to remind us all how quickly our very reality can be undone. They are still watching. They were always watching. Whoa. Check out this sky. We got A Needle in Your Eye by Grapes. Flicker Vertigo by Tony the Parrot. Whoa. I See You by Grapes. Plead a Taste by Dedopian Sky. No Exit by Winkar. Unrequited by Gru. Spiral 1399 Efface by Softserve. We have Satan's Void by Scavenger Wolf X. Icon of Rin by Grapes. Charred by JFC. Till the Feast by Dedopian Sky. Oculi Auxilium by Craven Coyote. Divine Boogeyman by Walter. No, we already got that one. We got OD2 Crazy Doom Guy, Grapes. Broken Legs and Corpses by Winkar. Midnight Curse by Joga. Dead Rancid Air by Habonki. Abyssal Junction by Alex H. Dissociation by Astar18. Sanctification Incarnadine by Slade Ramsey. The 10th Trepanation by Matt Eldridge. The Ghost Ping Incident by Grapes. Bite It Off by Steph Yesterday. I'll Be Your Hall of Mirrors by Grapes. Sleep by Winkar. Red and the Consequences of by Psionox. Convergence by Sapium. 666 milligrams per kilogram by Vertigo. King by Knights 108. They Are Watching by Niloquy. The Way Everlasting by Joga. Avisi by Flying Goner. Midnight Curse by Joga, but I think we already did that one. We definitely did that one. We have made the sky. Okay, the sky was bitey. Oh god. Oh, okay. Let's, yeah. What now? Well, let's hope I read everybody's names out. Because I think I ran out of chance. No kills, no secrets, 1 items. Are these can't be Revenants. I guess MBF 21 can do, you know. Crabes says, GG's, well done for playing the whole WAD. They are watching. I appreciate that. I definitely think that, this is one of the more interesting WADs I've played in a bit. Huh. I guess it starts this way. Yeah, I guess it does. Page down just brings you back. It's a fascinating one. It's one of the more interesting ones that I've seen. I don't just mean conceptually, though that is strong too, but just in terms of what people did with the things. I think there's a lot going on there. Toast says, back with a pimento cheese sandwich. Congrats on beating the WAD. Yeah, I appreciate everybody. I thought it was very interesting. I like the way that just the change in palette and inspired people to do more and more interesting things. More to the point, I think that it's very interesting how people actually used visuals as, like... They actually used visuals as part of the gameplay. They actually considered them, like, what you can see and what you can't see was interesting. Rape says, yeah, I was not expecting half the great stuff people came up with. It was really enjoyable to manage. I'd believe it. I mean, obviously, this is a fascinating... Well, let's watch this again, just because we stepped on it. But yeah, I've been thinking about how this one's very hard to, you know... It's hard to get people into it just because the visuals are so harsh. And like Sally has to dip out every now and again because even with my alterations to the color palette, she's not able to, you know, handle it for extended periods of time. So it can't be for everybody, but at the same time, I think that in some ways that kind of reinforces the strengths of the map set. It's not for everybody, but you can really feel a lot of authenticity because of that. It feels very... How could I even say it? It feels like because of what's going on, people just let themselves be really out there in ways that they might not otherwise have. And yeah, we got Dead Rancid Air. We got this one, for example. Bite It Off. Yeah. Toast says, it's avant-garde. It really is. To its great strength, I think. Here's another one that's very avant-garde. But yeah, I also liked how there were a lot of unintuitive things, which, to be fair, I think is part of the unexplored sort of the unexplored space left in what ALIZARIN kind of started us off with, which is that having one solid color like this really started affecting the way that I processed the visuals. Obviously, you saw me just run into rockets at a much higher rate than usual because I saw them, but object fixation and other issues just affected my reactions in ways that I found really difficult to replicate. And I think that just in general, the visual effects get very... They get very different, you know what I'm saying? I saw gradients that didn't exist. I saw all kinds of things that weren't actually in the graphics. Toast says, the pillar platforming level from a stream or two ago will haunt me for a while. Well, yeah. The inaccessibility of some of the platforming does kind of also limit how many people can, you know, can do what needs to be done. But for all that, you know, I definitely think there's definitely something there. And, you know, the visual effects, Grape says, the timed lowering ones in map 17, I think? Potentially. That sounds like it. I think that was probably it. It was the Mega Man ones that I remember. Oh yeah, we actually had a save. I've just been scrolling through these, but we could have just gone to... Oh, we don't have a save because we're on release candidate E. Yeah, no. We have to be novel with it. But yeah, the ones that had... Grape says, yeah, I got those nerfed a little after watching. Alright, that's nice. That's good. Toast says, fair play. Oh, I agree. But yeah, the influences that people use from optical art and things like that, I think those are very fascinating. The fact that people actually did op art references. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to have a conversation about op art. But, you know, black and white palettes in general will do it, and splashes of red are not unknown in op art. So, it's not too surprising to me. Now here's a question, Grapes. Have you ever heard of chimerical colors? Because this map set has made me think. And one of the things that I think is that Grape says impossible colors? Yes, kind of. A specific subset of them. But chimerical colors in specific are a subset of them. They're colors that don't exist, and there includes a shade of red that doesn't exist. I think there's a Stygian shade that doesn't exist. Potentially a few more. And when I think about ALIZARIN, I think, you know, given that I saw these strange visual effects while I was playing, and I bet you more people than just me would also see them if they played, you know, for the long sessions that I did, then it might be the case that somebody could use limited palettes to make, and level design to make Stygian colors appear. So it says Stygian red, the source of Rich Evan's powers. Sure. I'll integrate that into my worldview. But yeah, when I think about some of the things that I saw, a lot of that was due to retinal fatigue of the rods and cones, right? Where when you look at a primary color for long enough, your basically perception of color changes, and that means that if you swap colors at the right time, you can produce colors that aren't there. A lot of the times that's just after images that are the opposite color of what you saw, which is why I was able to see gradients and things like that sometimes. But if you select your colors carefully, you can see colors that just are not physically possible for you to perceive otherwise. And Grape says, kind of like when you play a Guitar Hero type game for long enough and your eyes start warping things vertically when you stop focusing. Kind of like that. Different part of the brain, but similar idea. And so, as I was playing Alizarin and just processing those experiences, I realized you could probably use clever palette swapping and other techniques, alterations to the play pal and things like that, to make it so that there are maps centered around impossible colors. But that would require very specific level design. So I don't know if anybody will ever do that, just because it would be so much work. You would, in my opinion, probably need, like, a from-scratch palette and sprite set. And a set of, like, PlayPal and trans-mapped changes to make it happen. But on top of that, you would need to design the levels carefully so that the player's eyes get saturated with one color and then swap to make it happen regularly. But if you did that, the result would be interesting. But yeah, Alizarin made me think of that, and I wonder if more people are going to go that way. Because we've seen Noir Doom, then we've seen Sepia, and now we're seeing Alizarin. Each one is a little bit more extreme in its stylistic choice. I think that there are, you know, more antecedents than just Sepia. But I think since that one was the one that won the Big CAC Award, people are going to think of that one. And it's definitely going to be, let's say, inspirational to people, probably. There are probably going to be a few more extreme things. There's also the Tyrian palette. I ought to show that off, since it's technically official. I don't know if I can just load it in as a WAD file, but... Toast says, oh dang, Sepia won? Totally missed that. Yeah, it was a winner a couple years ago. Grape says, Fire Rainbow 1 and 2 come to mind too. Paint It Doom, DIY. I remember DIY. DIY made a bit of a stir. And obviously Fire Rainbow was a big... Yeah, didn't one of the Fire Rainbows also win a CAC Award? So that one would definitely be recognized as an antecedent as well. It would have the popularity for that. Fire blue effects in general feel like... they might cause weird effects too. Of course, we know that it can kill the bitrate on streams. There weren't too many bitrate killing maps on this, interestingly enough. I didn't expect the compression algorithms to be able to handle this, but then again, I guess with the lower color channels, they were able to be smart about it. Presumably, there is some color channel smartness involved in, you know. Rape says, I handled it pretty well, surprisingly. Only some of the busier ones struggled, which makes sense. Yeah, I agree. I think part of that might have to do with a lot of compression algorithms doing smart things with color selection from back in the day when people palletized video graphics. Remember scratchy, hyper-compressed MP3 graphic? Well, not MP3, but hyper-compressed videos? I remember. It was a different time. A noticeably worse time, but a different time. Anyways, yeah, I don't know how we're gonna do Map 99, from what you've told me. I'm not the best at puzzles, if I may be blunt. And I have a feeling that this maze is not just here for fun. Because it's a big old maze. From what I've heard about Cyanox, he's legitimate with puzzles. So it says, just need a Hypercam logo at the top middle of the screen for that authentic 2008 feel. I wonder if the Hypercam did have a feature to palletize graphics. I can't imagine that it did. But if anything would, it would be Hypercam. Ah, there we go. Trying to process this is something else. Though I will say, it's not as hard on the eyes as some of the other maps. You do kind of get used to it, but it is still a bit of an eye strain situation. Like I said, I think the choice of the red palette probably affects that. Actually, come to think of it, now that we have, let's actually set up puzzle time. Anyways, let's pop in the Tyrian palette just to see. Certainly it should be present now. Okay, map releases, and then let's see. It shouldn't have already. Really? It's already on page 2? Okay. There it is, and then we just need to find Tyrian. Tyrian.zip. Alright. Just gonna quit real quick now that we've started developing out map 99. Map 99 will take some thinking on the noggin, so may as well give it a peek-see. Extract Tyrian, then let's see, Tyrian.wad. Yeah, that'll do. Alright. Let's just, oh, and I can delete, well, I shouldn't probably delete my, my filter, but I can turn it off. So that we may all witness Tyrian. Yeah, check that out. Well, I say that. There you go, OBS. Good job. But yeah, very different vibe. Yeah, I just wanted to show this off because I think it's funny. It's not even funny, it just has a different vibe. So it says, seeing a color other than red after that wad is what prehistoric fish must have felt after crawling out of the sea. There's a certain extent to which that's true, you know. There's energies to it. I don't know if that's letters. But yeah, this is a very different vibe. Very different visual impact, too. Oof. Grape says resist, another one says die. Ah, I see. But yeah. I think that this is another branch that I think people are going to take with it, is just, okay, we've seen what searing red is like. We're just going to try every primary color and secondary color. And we're going to try at different saturations for a little bit. Yep, that does say resist. Something teleported. But yeah. Oh, God. Not quite a soft lock. It was dicey there for a second. It's a different change. Let's put it like that. Still love this cube one. I don't think these always look like screaming faces, but they kind of do now. But yeah, that's Tyrian. That's the semi-official palette swap. It's a different vibe. It's a different vibe altogether. But I do think there's a reason for it. Let's put it like that. And hopefully it helps more people to play it. I still think that it's got a certain aesthetic cohesion to it that remains. So yeah, let's go back to map 99 for a second. Puzzle time. And OBS will catch up with us, I'm sure. Not like we're missing out on much. But yeah. Yeah, I'm terribly interested in what people will make of this concept. I think avant-garde is right. I'll be interested to see if you get a Kako word, since you were mentioned in the thread. On the one hand, I imagine that the difficulty and the challenge is right up people's alley. And of course, I do think that this has real artistic merit. But also, can they judge it if it gives them splitting migraines and their eyes start to bleed? I don't know. Even I had to take a few headache breaks. I went through the whole thing, so I clearly can build up some tolerance to it. I mean, it's not that bad. This is a monochrome display, but I'm sure most people playing this are going to be doing it on OLEDs and LEDs, and those are easier on the eyes than the monochrome displays we used to use with CRTs on them. So, clearly I think there will be some people who can handle it. In general, I definitely think ALIZARIN is a much-needed artistic intervention. I think people forget how good palletized graphics can be. Like their utility and what they can imply. Photorealism is all well and good, but with palletization, you get a bunch of stuff that you otherwise wouldn't get, in my opinion. Right, there's all this going on around here. There are a lot of interesting palette changes that people do, but a lot of them are just typically slight aesthetic modifications to the color temperature. And maybe contrast. But outside of like that, I can't give you anything sequel. I don't see too many people getting too crazy or avant-garde with a palette. My nemesis. I did remember that we do have time speed up, so that'll help. That'll definitely help. But we need to find at least all 4 of the signs that we saw last time. To say nothing of whatever else is going on in there, because I can't quite tell. Surely not, right? Okay, so wait. Huh. Okay. Am I insane, or did those not show up last time? Do you all remember these? Because I don't remember these at all. Huh. Okay. Sure. Toast says, I don't think those were there. Hard agree. The implication being that they went away. Here's this switch. Either that, or that was changed for release candidate E somehow. That would imply that I suffered some kind of bug, or I shot a shot with my bullet, and that affected things. That's another possibility. The possibilities are endless, really. Any news here? Nothing too crazy here yet. But yeah, having swapped between release candidates, I can imagine maybe there were some bug fixes. There's a wall here. It's not easily noticeable. Okay. Okay. Huh. I am fascinated. I don't know if I'll be able to... I don't know if I'll be able to take them all... Just take them all on. But, given that it only took us about 40 minutes to beat the last map, we do have what I would call a surplus of time. Which means that I can at least give a game attempt before looking up a guide. And that is my ultimate plan. We'll give it the best chance that we possibly can, then see if there's a walkthrough of some kind. Speaking of, now that we've been here, has this changed? No, these numbers are still here, which I guess we should be thankful for. I have a grim feeling about whatever that is. That tunnel, intimidating. Very intimidating. Got that static going on over there. But yeah, that about covers it for that. So let's see, do we have all four? We got... I think we only have 3 of them. There's 1 here. 2 here. 3 here. There was a 4th. We need to go find it. Yep, we need to go find the 4th. I don't know where it is, but I remember it existing. I think that was the case. Yeah, let's just rewind on that. Huh. I'm very confused as to what changed. So we got the 3... Oh, is it 3 of each? That's a possibility. Yeah, that's a possibility. So then the next step is just to trace out the... Continue to trace out the patterns in the maze, potentially. Until we get tired of that, and then go to the thing. Okay. We'll also, yeah, we'll save on puzzle time, just so that we don't lose our progress, since now we have useful numbers to go off of on the map. Aren't those nice? It's nice when the map has numbers. really wish the follow mode worked on DSDA. But lately I've been learning things. I've been learning things nobody should learn, would be the way that I would describe it, about Doom source ports. Like, did you know that Boom supports colored sector lighting exactly like in Doom 64 at the specification level? But there are practically absolutely no source ports that actually support it. Okay, you've done your job. Yep. There are actually almost no source ports at the specification level that support it, but SMMU, Smack My Marine Up, from the year 2000 was a Boom derivative source port that absolutely just tanked colored floors. Toast says numbers mean progress. Maybe, probably. It's really hard to say, actually, but yes, I believe you're correct. Yeah. So it's actually just kind of a weird accident of chance that we ended up in the situation where colored sectors are considered like advanced source port features, because Boom derivatives did do it, and Boom did exactly one potential implementation of it. Now, to be fair, in Boom's defense, the Boom implementation does a single render pass like the original Doom engine, whereas others don't. And so that's probably why. That's at least what Edward 850 from Night Dive said, and I believe him. But yeah, it's been kind of making me crazy all day. Not too crazy, especially now that I know that you have to edit the renderer a little bit. But yeah, at the specification level, Boom supports colored sectors like Doom 64. I want to believe that there's something here, but there's probably not. I'm not expecting anything, but I am expecting that if I don't, it'll come back to bite me. That's really goddamn close. That's really goddamn close to the other Doom Marines. It's noticeably goddamn close. Toast says the Eldritch Boom knowledge has corrupted you. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit of corruption. Like, yeah, no, we had... SMMU had colored sector lighting and a Boom source port with no 3D floors, no moving poly objects, nothing at all like that. The geometry that you know and love, that feature obviously didn't break demo compatibility either. And 25 years later, that's still not common on the purist approved source port. And I don't... Well, purist approved is maybe not the right word, but it is popular among the purist crowd. As far as I know, GZ Doom is still top dog. But I don't think anybody's checked in a bit either, so who can say? GZ Doom being top dog hasn't really changed its limited acceptance, but I always like chalked that up to demo compatibility issues. These days I'm not so sure. Especially if whatever happened to SMMU is anything to go by. Now, to be fair, it remains to be seen if that implemented Lee McCullough's optimizations. That might be a reason why. If I had to guess, maybe the performance argument was what happened. But without any knowledge on that subject, it's really hard to say. Huh, wait a minute. I've noticed something odd. I've noticed this. Ah. This is another thing. Disconnected line segments like this can get you into trouble. So I can't tell if these are aesthetic decisions or if they have some relevance to the arrows. I could see it in either way. Either they serve as a way, like, these paths serve as a way for you to decode things that are at the end of this, Or something else has to happen. That is my guess. If I have to throw in a guess. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of space. Given that this is a puzzle map, there are a few ways to consider what it is that you have to be doing. Consider your objective. If you hit the switch at any point in time, you die, because 4 voodoo dolls are crushed simultaneously. And it seems that you take the damage from all 4. Underneath every puzzle, there are a set of power-ups. Some of them include armor, and I think one of them includes rorbs. Now, that being the case, it is possible, not outside the realm of likelihood, that you need to use some of those orbs to prevent death. Though to be fair, you are killed fairly quickly. So quickly, in fact, that I'm not even sure it is the crushers themselves. But if you wait long enough, that turns on, right? Oh, right, let's load, apparently. Now, you could argue that there is like a... There's like a secret way that you could damage glide to make it happen. That's a possibility. But I don't know for sure. That might be part of the puzzle. Especially because you are taking an absolute load of damage. However, unlike yesterday, this time we do have a solid lead. So now that we've done some painting in, let's go back and let's do some guessing, I guess. Guess and check. I don't know. Actually, come to think of it though, I do see a little bit of the maze that we haven't finished. So we can always go there. Yeah, we got that going on. Yep. Okay, nothing there. Yeah, this zone seems unexplored. Underexplored, perhaps. There's definitely more to explore here. Hello? Okay, there. It popped back in. That's another fun thing. It can just decide, oh, you know what? You know what? I'm not up to rendering this. I don't know what that's about. I feel like that should be a bug report to somebody, but I don't know who. That reminds me of the way that your eyeball map didn't quite render in. Like, it rendered in weird chunks that I'm not sure were connected to specific line defs, though it did get inflamed. So, you know. This is, I think, the shortest path. Toast says, the bugs do add to the creepiness a little, even if it's not intentional. Oh no, they help for sure. There is a certain horror element to them. But also, in a puzzle map, it becomes a little confusing to untangle intent. Puzzle master intent from whatever else is going on. Okay, we've been here for 27 minutes, so it isn't on a timer per se. That much is cool. Alright. So we've got this going on. Now, we're going to speed up the game speed to 1,000. You may be wondering why. The answer is very simple. Because this happens. Oh god. I didn't think about Doom Guy, though. Ooh. It's nice to have the silly bastard move at god speed, but... Okay. So that's one. We have, oh, Jesus! Okay, yeah. That affects everything. We have gone here. Now we need to go to number 2. So it says that lost soul is straight up zoomin'. Zoomin' and doomin'. Okay, we need to lower the... to a humble 4x speed instead of... Okay. Thank you. We were... yeah. Okay. Oh, you little bastard, what have you done? Okay, you don't seem to have ruined anything. Yet. I'm gonna put a very tentative yet on that. But yeah, if we speed up game time, this can at least go by a lot faster, which helps. You cheeky you little shit. What the fuck are you doing? You have fucked everything up. Look at the little bastard go. I should have known. Okay, well. Get over here and let's start again. So it says, little shit needs to be dragged into Doom HR. Oh, indeed. Okay. Don't you do any wacky shit. Don't you do any wacky shit. Okay. So, okay, we can set... We can set the... We can move inside the frozen time. Oh. Well... The problem is that map navigation is tied to to game clock speed. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. That is crazy. That is actually insane. I think only Tassers really do this. No. Hey. Okay. Okay. Now we just move. Yep. Okay. Don't be a little weirdo. Don't be a little weirdo. No, he's being a little weirdo. Why are you being such a bastard? No. Okay. No, 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 no. No. Where the fuck are you going? No, no, no. Look at this. As much as I would like to speed it up at God speed, you have to, like, maneuver around an invisible maze. So, there's only so much God speed maneuvering you can do, you know? Come on, you little shit. And there it is again. Don't you get cheeky with me, you little fucking... Yep. Yep. Come on. Come on. I know you wants to. Okay. Okay, no. Okay. Thank Christ. Okay. So, number 4 is the next one. Right over here. No, you little pissant. Oh, I know you want to fucking ruin everything. But not so easy. Okay. Let's just maximum speed. Come on. Okay. Oh god, what have I done? Okay. Alright. Everything's going gravy so far. Okay. Okay. I'm a little confused. Okay. Well, we've done it. Apparently. Mm-hmm. This is still locked. But we can hear the teleportation sounds. So there are a few ways that I can parse this. Right? We've clearly made something resembling progress. But if I want to think about the hours that it took Grapes to do this, one potential cause for that, if you'll humor me, is that we've moved on to phase 2 of the puzzle. And in phase 2 of the puzzle, you have to do it blind. I think that is a fairly sober assessment of the possibilities. Yeah, Doom Guy's moving the way I feel right now. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Not at 250 game speed, perhaps. Perhaps there. But yeah, this has now become a memory game. Toast says everything's coming up Millhouse. Yeah, something like that. Toast says Doom Guy's moving like he just had an espresso for the first time. Yeah, a little bit. Wait a minute, that... Grape says, I'll save you some sanity and say you've solved that part. Okay, okay. That's why it's not changing anymore. So, it's not changing, but also, it's not... Solved that part. There's two ways to interpret that. This pillar hasn't risen up yet. So, one possibility is that there is another puzzle component. Another possibility is that that is a two-part puzzle, and the pillar rises for some unrelated reason. Like, either there's a different set of instructions that you need to accomplish, with just the gargoyle faces and the numbers, or not that. We don't know which. Grape says 2-part and the soul hurting was 1 part of it. Okay. So no more soul hurting. But he is going to be making that noise the entire way through. Got it. I don't see anything else in this room at the moment. That doesn't mean there isn't anything else in this room. There is, of course, that one spot that remains dark. That may have something to do with it. One, two, three, four, five, six. These are Roman numerals. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. In that case, I would imagine 5, 6, and 4 to be relevant. But it's not clear. I don't see any differences here. If it's a 2-part puzzle and the lost soul has something to do with it. There are a couple of possibilities, you know? I don't think it would be this easy. But I figure I may as well try, right? Hall Wuggan, as they say. Though, speaking of, here's a whole new set of walls that we haven't explored before. Yeah, Doom Guy's big mad, but, I mean, who wouldn't be? Okay, so it's nothing so simplistic. We've got up and right. And then we've got... Well, one interpretation could be to raise this pillar. This is a 2-part puzzle that requires us to solve this right-hand puzzle. And whatever the fuck is up here. That would be one way to interpret that, right? Okay, sure. Let's see if that makes any goddamn sense, right? Then we've got this one, which in theory should be left and up. Okay, so that wouldn't make much sense. Left and up wouldn't make much sense. Then let's look at this one. This one is right and left. So that would be these two. Okay. But these two, not so much. No, that doesn't work for these two. Because, yeah. But yeah, let's check out the Crusher floor and see if there's anything new there. Because that's a possibility. If this is a 2-part puzzle, that might be one place to put the parts. Let's save. That seems the same as before. And I haven't been able to get through one of these even once. Yep, that's about as far as I get. Implying that it's not about disabling. Has anything opened up out here since I did that? Up and right. Well, we still have slivers of the labyrinth that we can see. Right? So we do know there's something there. But besides that, what else do we know? Not much. Not much at all, if I can be honest. Two-part puzzle. I can't see... Okay, cool. I can't see what else would be in that room to cause that. Unless the idea is that... Okay, here's where I get to rant again about the map glitchiness versus authorial intent. If there's some significance to those blank spots, then I don't think I would know it. Because the last time that I was here, I only saw one dot. Now I see like a set of quotation marks. Well, we can always just up the game speed to 8,000. Nothing. Nothing there. So yeah, read on the consequences of. I didn't see any other change in the room. We can try over here, see if we can get something done. But I don't think that that'll... Okay. So, in this room, we've got 25 distinct chambers or houses, whatever you want to call them. These 25 distinct chambers or houses seem, at first glance, to be wholly identical. The Utopian Sky says, perhaps we're waiting for the room to see a change in you. Potentially. This is such an obscure puzzle that I would believe that. But I'm trying to think of line actor changes that would, at any point in time, cause that. Potentially anything involving eye bleach would do that. Okay, so here we've got 1, 2. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 separate locations, each being the sides of a wall. Now, okay. There are ways to codify this, right? One is to imagine that this is a grid spot. This is a grid spot. Okay. This is a grid spot. So that'd be 1, 2, 3. And then this is just about double length. So it would be like... Well, I say that, but here's 4, right? So, like... Yeah, that doesn't quite work out. We get the 4 here. Okay, then we would see this as a grid spot. This is a grid spot. This is a grid spot. This is a grid spot that doesn't exist, right? Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Here's another one, right? Then on either side, and you must forgive my dog shit ass grid here. I'm not exactly an Etch-a-Sketch champion. But, yeah. Okay. Alright, so then we've got 5 pieces horizontally, but only 4 pieces vertically. So it could be one of 2 ways. Another possibility is that this corresponds to those open doors, and that has something to do with the order. But I don't see what that would be. So this gives us at least vertical stability if we're looking at it, which means that we have 4 different options to choose from, right? The 4 options are that pattern applied to the top half, so these top 4, that pattern applied to the bottom half, and then a mirroring depending on which facing is which. 4 options in total. So, okay, I see what you were saying by pen and paper, Dedopian. Or not Dedopian, Grapes. Grapes said that. This is, do I have a piece of paper? Because I would really like a piece of paper for this one. I don't know about y'all, but this one, this kind of problem actually makes me want to write things down. So, okay. Now, in theory, if I was a cool streamer that everybody likes, just like, fucking, what's his name? The Pirate Software, right? I would have this cool setup ready to just immediately swap out to my tablet, which is presently in another room. And, yeah. Then everybody would like me, and I would always be a winner. But right now, I'm just writing this down on a little, notepad, because I feel like that's probably the smartest way to do this, because it's a pretty quick drawing. I could sprint over, and the more complicated this gets, the more inclined I will be to do that. But till then, we will, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 10 defers. Let's not get too silly with it. See, this is what I was saying. Like, I find it crazy that nobody wants to draw on their auto map. I find it heartening that a lot of mappers want to draw on their Ultimate Doom Builder window. That was a big takeaway from the thread that I made on Doom World. But for puzzle maps like this, you definitely want to draw your drawings. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, from that perspective, we've got a series of possibilities. Let's see if I can draw them out, right? So, first one is that this is, like, I don't know. Goddamn. Oh, where am I? Where'd I go? I'm in here. Okay. So, let's see. First one is over here. So that would be, like, let's see. We could do, like, Jesus Christ, how am I going to number this? Okay, we got A, then B, right? Well, logically speaking, we can eliminate one of the options just because there's no doorway, right? It has to be in reverse order if this is... Because if it's just the open doorway, then that doesn't matter, right? Logically speaking, we can eliminate that perspective. We have to be flipped. So that would bring us down to 2 options, potentially. That would be my thinking, right? Where it's like, okay, we have to be facing them from the same position, right? So in that case, we would start here. Ooh, would we though? Okay, because let's say that we did it this way. Then there's this. Okay, cool. So we need to pick a sidedness, right? Such that there are no open windows. Well, but that's not going to happen because there's 1 side, 2 side, 3 side, 4 side. So that, yeah, like, there are enough sides here from enough angles to construct a square. Right? So, I thought that I was being clever. I thought that I was doing some shit. It turns out that I'm... Wait a minute. I do Blender on the regular. There's a third option. This is a cube. This is a cubic projection, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Obviously, we can't select the floor. We can't select the roof either. Would that be something? Wait, fucking... What would the point of that be, though? Because it's like, okay, you've got a folded cube map. Does that help you at all with this? I'm not sure that it does. Okay. Well, let's just start from scratch, I guess. Yeah, it would just be A, then B. So wouldn't they make switch noises necessarily? Then C on the top. Right. Then D on the bottom again. Alright. So by process of elimination, we can just try that and see what happens. My initial guess is nothing. Yeah, there are also rotations to take into account, right? Which just makes everything harder. We've got 3 contiguous sides on the interior. So I'm going to hope against hoping that nothing happens. If it is a matter of pressing secret switches, then we will hear them. Deet says they don't have to. The trigger for a switch sound is the line def texture being a switch. Silence. 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 No visual changes have been observed. Oh. Nothing has changed here. These guys are still secrets. If there's any order to this, I wouldn't know what it was. So, we can thoroughly rule out these ones. Okay. And there's A, B, C, D, which is just shifting it down one. Unlikely to be the case, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Oh, and don't forget, there's the opportunity that there's a buried line def in there. I don't want to believe that that's the answer, because that would suck. But that is a possibility, and we have to keep that in mind. Okay. A, B, C, and last but not least, D. Okay. That has changed nothing. So, yeah, the main thing that's... The Ethiopian Sky says, when a sector triggers and moves, if it's set to, it makes a sound from its center to 1200 map pixels. It's possible to join sectors and move their separate boundaries far apart to negate the player hearing the sound at all. So we can't rely on visual feedback. And we can't rely on audio feedback either. Groovy. One thing that you could consider is that this is some sort of cube folding. With this being the order of the house, but that doesn't tell you which house to do all this in. So... right? Deed Open Sky says, they're all possible to add in any given situation, but given Cyandox's adoration of difficulty, here we are. Yeah... Also, there has to be an order component to stop you from just doing this by brute force, right? Because Cyanox wouldn't want you to brute force it. That's another thing we have to consider. There's some way... Grape says, yeah, there is. That's what I thought. There is some sort of order that you have to press these in because Cyanox doesn't want brute forcing. Grapes, I'm assuming that there's no way to fuck this up so that you're soft locked, right? Because that doesn't seem very helpful. Then you would just have to load a save. Grape says, you will only know if you solve this particular puzzle once you solve it. And Grape says, I don't think so. Okay. So, the upside is there are a number... There's a number of things, right? So we've got... Grape says, you can reset the puzzle without knowing it, but no soft lock, hopefully. Okay, reset the puzzle without knowing it. So presumably resetting the puzzle without knowing it is just getting the order wrong and having to start over again. So, Grape says, yeah. Let's see, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no matter how many ways I look at it, if we just separate this out, if you just decompose it into a grid, then yeah, sure, you've got one, well, no, not even that. You've got one, Deet says, is it a set solution or is it randomized? Oof. I mean, it's possible to randomize it, but the only person that I know that knows how to do that would be Rivix. Rivix is the only person I know who does randomization in MBF21. There are plenty of people who do it in UDMF, but not in MBF21. So, I may have made a mistake. Grape says, set solution. Thank God. In Cyanox's defense, I think it would be literally a nightmare to test this, to, like, play test a puzzle that is randomized in MBF21. The Utopian Sky says, Deets does, and I do, jangly. Okay. Fair enough. That's another possibility. Another thing that this could be is... Okay. This could be like a 3 grid instead. In which case it would be a 3x4 grid, where instead of what I said, right, it would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Damn, I am dog piss at that. Okay? So that would be like the worst case scenario, which is a 3x4, right? Another possibility is that it's about the parameters, but what I don't understand is how you would select between left or right. The idea is... Okay, so this is left. Huh. These walls are a little funky, but I'm thinking that that's not part of the puzzle. I think that their standoffs are not part of the puzzle, but I don't know for sure. Because the idea is that if you think about it this way, right? You go to the left wall, then the right wall, then the left wall again, then the up wall. Yeah, that doesn't mean fucking anything. This one is a puzzler. Because we've got this cruciform, right? And it's got 2 units. 2, 3, 4. It's actually a T shape if we ignore the prize room, because I've been fixating on a cube map projection, right? But it's not necessarily a cube map projection we've got going on. So then we've got a sequence on the T of left, then right. We've got a middle spot that is null. Then we've got one that's down on the left and up on the right. So we've got left on bottom, L on B, R on top? You could see it that way. Down on left, up on right. The only difficulty here is, when you think this through, right, how does that translate to this 3-sided room, right? Now, there's another potential interpretation, which is to count, like, the sides on this thing. Where it's like, okay, we've got a shape that is a small box inside of a large box, and they open up into one another, right? And the number of sides that produces is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the outside, then 6, 7, like 6 on the inside, right? Then another 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 spots, right? And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spots. So that doesn't seem right either. They don't quite match up in that way. Even including this, that just takes you up to 13. Including this, that takes you up to 15, right? So that doesn't seem like it's an unfolding. Even if you keep these two, like, ignore these two, right? Imagine that this is some sort of weird unfolding of the space inside and outside. And you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, it's hypothetically possible if you ignore the doorway and the prize room. But that doesn't seem right either, right? It could be. It could be. But then I'm not sure how you map one to the other, right? The implication would be that you start on the door frame and then circularize your way across. And just consider that like a doorway. And then you have to go to your left, right? Select one on the left. But then that doesn't give you any directionality. It just tells you skip a space, then hit it. Right? So it would be like left, then top, then right, nothing, nothing, outer right? Even then, like, because there are a few ways you could set it up, right? One of them is that the grid of 25 is a red herring. And what you need to do is actually select the right number of, select the right ones in any box, right? This could map to any single one, and it would just be a duplication. That's one way that you could do it, right? I doubt that, but it is a possibility if you're meant to discern, you know, information. Because, yeah, it'd be like left, right? So, like, starting from the doorway, hit the left, then skip one, then hit the right. Hit the left, skip one, hit the top, skip one, skip one, skip skip one, like that's the doorway. Hit the right? Skip one, so that you skip the top, skip the left, and hit the right? That doesn't seem right, right? Skip one, yeah. That depends on how you parse the prize room, right? I'm going to say that that probably wasn't it. So, yeah. For this room, we've got the red herring hypothesis. We've got truncated hypothesis. And then we've got some sort of cube map hypothesis, which I can't articulate. There's the question of whether or not the interiors or the exteriors matter. I see no reference to the floor. The floor is just boards. There are no distinctions between the textures. They all have that thing on the bottom left corner. So that's not it. These are all visually identical textures all the way around. They all have that going on for them. And each one of these is spaced the same size. Specifically, you get one repetition. You get one repetition of that across this visual plane, you know. Right? They are the same number of map units long. Yeah, so I see the same pattern. There's that along that horizontal line. You see that twice, and then there's one above it. Twice and one above it. Yeah. Twice and one above it. Twice and one above it. So we can eliminate from consideration the notion that there are any distinctions in the textures, unless we can spot them, that give us the giveaway, as well as yeah, unless there are distinctions in the textures here that I haven't been able to spot, unless one of these houses is not like the other, then yeah, that doesn't quite work out. No. They all use the same texture. If there are two sets of textures that look identical in the ALIZARIN resource pack, but they aren't, and you have to check, I wouldn't know. The interiors also use the same texture. However, just because they use the same texture doesn't mean they're the same size. This, one repetition with a thing on top, does appear to be the same size as this. This maps to interior walls. Potentially. There's only one problem with my hypothesis. The problem is that, again, it's the same problem of interpretation. There are not 4 walls. There are 3 and an opening. Whichever one it is... Wait a minute. Are these the same length? They must be, because these exterior walls... These exterior walls have 1, 2, 3 repetitions. So if they're interior walls... Yeah, that wouldn't work. So you've got like a left wall, a right wall, then an inside wall, then a top wall. Now you could time this out. You could temporalize this, right? And be like, you have to hit the left, then the right, then the front, then the up, and then come back out. But that still doesn't give you anything, right? Because it's left, right, up, then, like, down? That's clearly not it. And they all have the same tilings. Left, up, yeah, that was a complete botch job. So unless the fourth wall is an invisible wall, which, to be fair, it is, like... And at that point, you have to include passing over line defs as the definition of this fourth wall, hypothetically. So that leaves us more or less where we were before. We have this T-junction. Alright? Now, in that T-junction, yeah, if we include... The problem is I keep being like, oh, we'll just wrap it around. What do you mean, Defers, by wrapping it around? Because there's no... If we take the cube map projection hypothesis, right? You don't fold the walls. You don't fold the walls that way, right? Like, these walls are already upright. They're not rotated. So you've got this wall, and then you have to construct some sort of cube out of it. Like, you could even have it be an open-top cube. So then we'd have to make these the walls. And then what exactly, right? Because, like, yeah, you could fold this out here, but that doesn't serve... Like, there's no origami wrapping that I can think of. It wouldn't even be an origami. It would technically be kirigami if you're being a weeb, but this isn't that. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? So like, you could like map this out to like a cardboard cutout that's T-shaped, right? And then think of those as tabs, and then imagine to yourself, we have to make the shape of the half cube with the tabs. But I don't see how that's possible, since you have to rotate them relative to one another to create a completed room. And again, there are no distinctions here. We've got a 3x3 grid in here. So, like, in every individual room, we have a 3x3 grid. Well, no, we don't really have a T-junction either, do we? We can construct a T-junction if we wanted. Right? But where does that leave us? That leaves us, like, right there. Right? Because if there's like, we can enclose a T-junction in every room, but that doesn't tell us which room is which. And this does not, to my knowledge, yeah, this doesn't line up with any specific room. So, yeah. We have a lot of variables to control for, and not a lot of ways to do it. The naive method didn't seem to bring any results. We could do, like, a mirrored version of the naive method, right? But the naive method seems to be doing a lot of special pleading. Because, yeah, you basically do a lot of... running around, right? So in that one, it would be like, what would it be? It would be A, then B, then, yeah, what would it be? Right? Okay, A, B. And we go over here and we get to C, right? Which may not even be the case, because these could map to the same row, right? Like, these could be the same row. Okay. And then we get a D, right? Again, there's 3 walls, so no matter how many ways you orient it, there's 4 walls in here, each of a unique orientation. And every single building that we have here is a 3-sided wall. So, logically, it cannot be the case that these are all one building. They have to be multiple buildings that relate to one another, but because they are multiple buildings that relate to one another, they have to relate to one another in such a way that, well, one of these walls is actually an interior or exterior wall. If you believe that these are majority interior walls, then one of them must be an exterior. And if these are majority exterior walls, then one of these must be an interior. Then on top of that, you've got the grid of 25. That could be a red herring, that could not be. This is making my head hurt. There are no distinctions in the path out here. Now, you could consider it a sort of... You could consider it as a sort of path. Like, the possibility is that these are not walls as such, but a certain path that you have to walk through them. Given the particulars of this, that seems unlikely in the sense that you would teleport over a line def sooner or later, but that's assuming that it isn't a walk over line def instead of a teleport. And there's no reason to believe that, right? This is like, that's one way of dealing with it, is that you just make it about walkover line defs instead. But if you do that, then, you know, that's a completely different set of instructions. Now we could try and parse that. There's white exterior floors, red interior floors. This is red, so it must involve the houses themselves. I don't know if that's accurate, though. So, we got that going for us. Yeah. We've got this going on right here. I don't know if that means anything. If there's an offset there, I don't know what it means. Because the offset here is such that if you see a uniform grid, then you'd be off by 1. So, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't help that that's one of the most eye-strain rooms in there. So, we got, like, a sequence of 25. It could also be that these is a... You need to go into specific rooms, right? That's another possibility. And it would go from bottom to top, right? As usual, though, that doesn't help you too much. Because... Right? Because at this point, we would still have 3... Like, this refers to 3 cells, potentially. Because this would be all one set of houses. So you would go in the left house here. Then in the right house here. Then in the left house again? Yeah, see, there's top as well, so... That doesn't quite work out either. This is a hell of a puzzle. And the reward is a bunch of NVGs. So, if that is what I think it is, then Grapes mentioned that there was a map that used the night vision goggles as a puzzle-solving element. This could be that map. What is that? No. Yeah, we're going to have to clear those lines. So I'm going to say that that thoroughly kicked my ass, because we have walkover line defs, potentially. We have switch presses, potentially. We have all of that encoded within a system that could imply left, right, down, up in time, or something else. Right? So let's say we start here. Left, right, down. Yeah, that doesn't work, right? Wait, doesn't it? Could that potentially be a Hilbert curve? Let's see. We'd have to start somewhere, right? So left. Where do we start making turns, right? If we start here, then we go left, then right. Then what does down and up mean, right? It's not just a series of left to right, left, right. Left, right. Yeah, no, we have a bunch of crossroads. So until you enter a crossroad, it doesn't matter. So you still have to pick a crossroads, right? So like left, then right, then down, but that just takes you backwards. So that's not that's not a profitable explanation, right? Alternately, you could imply that it's about finding a crossroads where you can just tessellate left, right, down, up, right, until you get to near the exit, but I don't know what that means, because again, they're offset from one another. So it's clearly not a series of walkover line depths, I would think. They're offset by one another in a grid, right? And if they're offset by one another in a grid, then we've got squares that are, I want to say, 64 map units wide each, but I don't remember exactly what. But, you know, I think these are 64 by 64, right? So we could identify each as a unit. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, then 7 times 5 would be 35, right? Yeah, you would just stack 35 map units in that case. I think. Well, no, not quite. Because this is 7, and then this is another 7, so that's 14, 21, 28, 35, right? 37. Yeah, I believe that's right. Because here's 7. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 37. Yeah, so that would be 37 by presumably 37. 37 by 37, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 map units in, right? Does that mean anything? I don't know. Nine map units rightward from top left. The entrance is, I believe, more or less in the middle, right? Yes. Well, no, because it's not in the middle, is the thing. Oh my god, okay, I'm gonna lose my mind there. It's specifically like 18 map units in? Yes. Yes, it's 18 map units in. Okay, so 18 map units in, and this is exactly half that offset. Why? What does that mean? The numbers, Mason, what do they mean? 18 to the right. That's just corner to corner lengths. Because, yeah, that is just one off from the goddamn center. And the goddamn center is like... Yeah, 714, sure. 714, 15, 16, 17, 18. And this is number 19. So it's like, on a unit grid, it would be 18. It would be position number 18 from the left. Whereas this would be, again, there's 7. 8, 9. I guess you could say that it starts at positions 10 and 11, but you get my point. I'm going fucking crazy, is my point. This is a very multivariate problem. Let's go explore the other maze instead, because I've just lost it. I've lost the plot on this one. That's before we get into my whole multivariate theory on this goddamn maze. Because if this maze has anything to do with that, that's it. I'm cooked. My whole shit is cooked. It's potentially that it does. Then we've got this going on, right? You need a red card to open this door. So, the mission objective seems fairly simple. Acquire a red card. It's possibly the case that you can get a red card, you know? Are there any other ways around here? I don't know. Nothing here, not yet. Here's the Doom Marine corpse, so we can understand that as a proper introduction to the puzzle. Now, we know that Psyonox has, in the past, used non-simply connected spaces to defeat the possibility of using the right-hand rule to beat a map, or to beat a maze. And that's very, I think, fair, given, you know, the way that Doom operates, but it is potentially the case that we can still use the right-hand rule to chart out the map. If our plan is not to get to the end, then, at least in theory, yeah, we have teleported multiple times. I am not at all surprised. I am not at all surprised that if you just right-hand rule it, and we're back. Yes. Yes, that makes sense to me, actually. I am not at all unsurprised. I want to say something. One thing that I did appreciate about the way that ALIZARIN's story was framed is that it always used we pronouns and us pronouns rather than implying the point of view of one lone Marine, which is interesting. In fact, technically it starts with some kind of office worker. Even if there was never any particular character development or through line that I could see in between the characters, like, the implication that it was more than one person was interesting, and I think that is unexplored territory in Doom. It made me wish that we had... How could I say this? Oh, right, this is a surprisingly compact grid. Yeah, I remember. But yeah, it made me wish that we had had Doom WODs that explored, like, multiple character roles. And, the Utopian Skies says, my headcanon is that it takes place in what I'm going to assume is some sort of Teledirect Atlantic Doom universe. I forget what the whole thing with Teledirect Atlantic Doom's mascot is. Honestly, I don't even find that outrageous. Anyways, I'm sorry, I've got to quickly BRB, and then we'll carry on solving this map, and we'll see what we can discern there. BRB. Okay, I'm back, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Utopian Sky says, I have been telepilled, though. He's an anthropomorphic glove that represents let your fingers do the walking logo for the yellow pages. This is fascinating. I'm not sure what I can do with this knowledge, to put it that way. But, yeah. That this knowledge exists is now indubitable. Okay, let's see. So the upside about all this, right, is that at the end of it all, we can see that all of the teleports are at the borders, right? Like, this... Oh. I was going to say, this is an obvious teleport, which it did eventually truncate into. However, before it did, where are we? We are... Where the... Okay. Fuck everything that I was yapping about. Every hypothesis that I just had is completely fucking screwed. Okay. However, bear in mind that just because that is the case, that doesn't mean... I believe it was here, but I don't know for sure. Okay. Well, this is about to get way weirder than I thought it was. Non-Euclidean maze? Yeah, we are... Whoop. Bye. Where are you? Where the fuck are we now? Okay. This is colossal. This is amazingly huge. Okay. And we got a casual loop, just in case you decide to use the right-hand rule or left-hand rule. Sometimes you gotta bring up the tools of the trade, you know what I'm saying? You can't just not have the tools of the trade. Ooh, where are we now? Okay, we're back here. Now, that would be freaking me out, but I don't feel that I lost too much progress because I know, at least I think I know, which one takes me to a place that isn't just this map again. Potentially, there are more than one, but so far I have not found that to be the case. Right now, my big strategy, my big winning strategy is just to differentiate. Yeah, so where am I now? I'm right over here. I can go, whoop. Yeah, I'm back out here. So it is as I said. Okay, where am I now? Okay, I'm back here. So I can't go, okay. This is where labeling, okay, where am I now? Where am I now? Okay. 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 So in theory, we can just backtrack over to here and end up here. No, once you enter into this vortex, yeah, that's actually good. That's actually good because it presents this complicated graph, right? But it's actually more simplified than it seems. There's only ever one place that you can get out of the graph from, and it's here. Potentially, anyways. It could be the case that there are a few other places, but we don't know that yet. right? So anything that teleports us out of there is worth noting. Now, the only problem is I probably should have marked down the last one that I did. Because now I am stuck in this place. And, you know. But yeah, it could be the case that one of these bastards was the right one. If you want to interpret the right one as the one that does the thing. Okay, here we are, right? Okay. So let's 3 back a few times. Okay, so we're going to mark this one tentatively. Because we don't know how many forks are in this garden of paths, as it were. We do want to be at least a little bit conservative. All right. So now that we've got that set up, let's continue on. Okay, see, that teleported us out over to here, and then if you go back here, you end up down here. See what I'm saying? That's in our favor. It doesn't look that way because you're interpreting it as a maze, but if you just let go of thinking of it as a maze and think of it as like a connected graph, then it's not so bad. Now, with that in mind, we do have to be a little bit alert that this is more multivariate than it appears, and that some of these initial assumptions that there's only one per could come back to bite us in the ass later on down the line. But I feel, yeah, see, we're back here. And the way that I think about it is that this is kind of like a Lost Woods, but there's like 8 tunnels per, you know? Except, you know, you get to mark down which ones are the right ones on your map, which makes the Lost Woods a little bit less scary. Now, in theory, again, in theory, you could have a situation where, once that's the case, you put the key somewhere where people won't find it. You know, like in the center. You train people, right, over and over again, to look for all kinds of wacky things. All kinds of weird escapes and exits and all that. Yep. Yeah, you see that? You train people to look for all kinds of weird escapes and exits, and then you hide the key in the center instead. Based on the notion that they'll, you know, do the incorrect thing. But, you know, as long as you as the puzzle player are aware of that and maintain a sense of focus, it's not too big of a deal. Okay, where are we? Back here. Okay. So yeah, this houses one absolute motherfucker of a problem, but that aside, we should be okay. So far, at least, we've only found one at a time that teleports you out, but the scouting runs can be a bit tedious, so I'm just filling out the space. That's my general thinking. Yeah, this is all... Whoop. See, this one's a little trickier. But yeah, if you go back here, then you'll just end up back here. And yep, so far the hypothesis holds. Now, there are a few ways that you could then proceed to completely fuck someone over, right? Method number 1, fairly easy. Just fucking, you know, do the thing. Just make one multivariate later on down the line. Method number 2, obviously, is the one that I've already described, where you just send someone to EBDB right at the last one. They just keep going through all the exterior cells without checking the interior. That's another way to do it. Another one is to just make this really, really, really long. We don't know how this was made. This could have been made with WAD C. I don't know that it was. Nobody ever uses WAD C. Not enough people use WAD C. I'm sorry. WAD C's cool. People just underestimate it. They don't give it enough credit. You can do all kinds of cool shit with WAD C. If you haven't tried it, you should try it. So typically speaking, that would be the outer edge of a grid, I think. I feel as though accelerating time should not be considered cheating in this one. As well as, you know, using rewinds and save states and the such. But yeah, it is as I suspected. We've got a conformal grid. If you take the form of the maze too seriously, you will have a bad time. Also, it occurs to me that I'm probably going to have to go through each and every one of these because I have absolutely fucked myself over a little bit too many times. Like, am I here? Nope. Okay. This is where I should be. I wish that we had more icons. I would then slap an X sticker on this or something, but we don't. So we have to be very, very assiduous. Some would even say deciduous. We have to be trees. The answer to this puzzle is to turn into a tree. I will not be taking further questions at this time. Okay, back here. Okay. I don't know which is faster. Okay. We're back here. We have fucked up. Better than ever before. Another way to fuck someone over is to just make the last one be like a... and then just turn around, right? If you don't anticipate the and then turn around at the very last one, you have not solved enough eldritch mazes in your life, you know? People need a healthy, steady diet of eldritch mazes in their life. If you don't have enough, you're going to have a bad time. You don't want to be eldritch maze deficient. Then you get caught in EBDB. Oh, look at this one. This one is notable because it takes you back to here. Will you be ready when you get sent to EBDB? People don't get EBDB insurance. I'm just saying. Talk to your insurance agent today. Okay, we're back here. So this is one where it's like if it's walkover triggers again, we're fucked. You know, that's a possibility. Okay. And then there's all this shit over here, which we never really spotted. So yeah, there's a few ways that you could impose challenge from this, right? One is to lengthen it substantially. Like, just make it super fucking long, right? Another one is the number of various ways of subterfuge that I've already described. See, this one's interesting because it takes you back to, yeah. It doesn't lose you as much progress as some of the other ones do. That's nice, I guess. Okay, where do you go? Okay. Again, this is a little bit inconvenient, but, you know, just playing good memory games, right? The problem is that this is a time-consuming process, you know? A very time-consuming process. But for all that having been said, bonk, bonk, bonk. Yeah, it takes a while. It takes a bit to get used to this, you know? Like, yeah. This is a weird way to play Doom. But I don't know, if you guys were adolescents like me, you probably ended up doing this at least once or twice. Hello. Okay. We got something here. Okay, I'm gonna map mark it here. No. No, no, no. Okay. I'm gonna map mark it here. There we go. Alright, look at that. We're now in a new zone. Not much of a new zone, but a new zone nevertheless. Okay, this is convenient. Yeah, now we are operating on different rules again. Yeah, where are we now? We're back here. Explore territory. I wish I could slap an X sticker on it. I really do. I wish that maps were drawing apps. Okay. Nope. Not here. Not here. Okay. We can explore the center a little bit. So this is a big, fat, fucking massive maze. But the secret of this maze is that you use the marker. And you just go from there, you know? This is a complicated maze, but it's not that complicated. Back in the day, if they made something like this, you'd have the really loud as fuck Doom teleport noise, the Doom stock teleport noise. You know the one. You know I'm not wrong. Okay, we're back here. Okay, interesting. Say the least. Okay, we're back here, so no. Nix to that. Gonna guess this is another one that's just... Yup. Oh, hey, 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 hey. There it is. Mark it on your map, everybody. Now, obviously, again, another way that you could really fuck someone over is to just have multiple, like, just have one of these be a bifurcation. You know what I'm saying? Have one of these be in the Garden of Forking Paths. Like, this heuristic continues in general, but then one in the middle, it does have 2 exits. And then this just repeats indefinitely, you know? That's a possibility. That's a thing you could do, you know? There are basically infinitely many ways to be malicious in this. That's all I'll say. Puzzle time is happening. And this is why I think that Doom would actually support a massive MMO. Like, if you took the Doom engine, right? Took Otomex-style optimizations to the networking code. Took Hellion-style C# BSP alterations so that the performance is huge. Had a fairly chunky server. I don't know, like a Xeon from way back when, something like that, you know? But nothing too crazy. Like, prosumer, like amateur server. Not your desktop rig, but like data center tech from like 5 years ago. Old and busted, clapped out, but still functional, right? You could just have that sumbitch run Doom. Like, have like 800 players doing silly shit like this. I have a vision. It's not a very good vision. I think it would actually be kind of shit, but I think that people would have a lot of fun doing it. And consequently, I think that visions that are kind of shit, but people would have fun doing, are sometimes worth pursuing. Just like I have 800 people explore like a parametrically generated hellscape that is absolutely catastrophic in size and scope. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? Imagine not using rewinds to get through this. That is one interesting thing about this, right? Like with a lost soul hurting, it becomes a lot easier if you can just fold time in on itself, right? There's no reason not to do it. And with save states, right? I can at least, when I notice that I get flip turned upside down, I can just, you know? The other way, now that I have my markers set up, I would just have to walk back, right? It would take a long time. And as much as this loop is atmospheric and creepy and good, I don't know that it's good enough for that. Another way that you could make this an unbearable fuck is to have the right walkover line def slowly go in and out. That's not really a puzzle, though, so much as that is, like, just sheer hateful cruelty, you know? So I don't think that happened. But if you had 800 people working on the same puzzle, and none of them had access to UDB, which wouldn't happen, but if you would, that's one way you could do it. That's one thing you could do. To hide, like, a secret or something. But, yeah. Hey! Alright. Mark this one on your event planner. We have found, the exit. Well, not the exit, but you know. Yoop. Alright, there we go. This ain't so bad. It's kind of bad, but this ain't so bad. Oh, hey, brain. Bragan. Oh, maybe that's the visual indicator that you're supposed to use. Maybe there was one for every section. Nope. Probably not going to be this one. Okay. Let's save again. Okay. This is a time-consuming procedure. Okay. Okay. Hey! Alright. Let's see where we end up now. Hey, I remember this place. Look at this. We still have so much more to go. Ah, but here's the giblet that tells you this is a new zone. Here's the little chunk of prosciutto. God, now I made myself hungry. Though to be honest with you all, that fucking brisket is gonna keep me up. Every time that I bring up brisket in this stream, it's the same story. I have nothing to report except it is catatonia-inducingly good, and I'm glad that I ate it. Every time. What new brisket discoveries have I stumbled upon? Just that brisket's really goddamn good. Did you know that brisket's really, really goddamn good? It is. Now, if there's some other way to do this, I might be playing the fool. I might be playing the fool, you know? It's almost impossible to tell. I wouldn't be surprised. So I guess says, I haven't had brisket in a long time. It's good. Yeah, it's, Oi! Hooray! We found another one. I'm getting impatient. It's gonna come back to bite me in the ass. So, yeah. I'm just talking about, you know, the brisket sirloin connection, as I am wont to do. Ah, here's a dead imp. That's how you know you're making progress. Probably. Okay. Oh, this is gonna get complicated now. Okay. Yeah, welcome back to this map. This is all that's left of ALIZARIN. And I'm staking my claim on it, you know? But good golly, what a fucking map. Hey, alright. But I don't even know if I will be able to beat it, if I can be honest. Because, yeah, so far, this one has been crazy. This one has been goddamn insane making. I can't deny it. Okay. You missed a whole, like, 90-minute house segment analysis. Well, it felt like 90 minutes. It was probably less long, but I've been doing a lot of talking. I have a little notepad with a little sticky note on it. Like, it's been one of them. Ah! That's a good noise. I don't blame you for not believing me, but it is. Okay, here we go. Oh! Oh, hey! Here it is! After all this time. We actually did it! Hooray! Now where do we go? It says which house? Oh, the 25 house grid. Grape says nice. The Ethiopian sky says sweet. It is sweet indeed. Let's hope we don't have to go back here. I could see us having to come back here though. This could be another two-part puzzle. It was long, but once you realize that the maze is not a maze, and you free your mind from the preconceptions of what a maze is, and just... Gosh, imagine trying to do this, imagine trying to do this pure pen and paper, just going off the corpses. That would be a while. Okay. So, we're in a save state. Save over puzzle time. I'd like to make the record known that I did see that coming. I did see that coming. Grape says progress is progress. It is progress, kind of. So I don't know if I have to go back in here or what. I know that I haven't searched out every potential thing in here. The idea that every single one is a two-segment map is also not lost on me. The Ethiopian Sky says we're so much closer now. Probably 32 MP closer. Potentially. We'll see. Like, we've got these fully explored regions, right? So we know where to go. But what do we do past that? That is not so clear. It could involve a decipherment. Yeah, we could be on... We could have to be decryption pilled. I don't know. Because I fully expect every set of I fully expect every set of puzzles to have some sort of if not trial and error, then something else component, if that makes any sense. Some sort of component to frustrate trial and error, rather, to be very specific. I think that every map will have some sort of doohickey or contraption to prevent you from being able to brute force it. Like right here, it was the non-simply connected space. If you tried to use normal maze tactics, it would never work. The maze is built up of loops on one side, and then on the other side a bunch of topologically cursed regions. You have to use something a little bit more complicated than that. I can't imagine not being able to use a map. Like, if this was in software rendering mode, yeah, no, I would crash out. I would crash the fuck out. Like, here's a whole zone, right? So, there could be stuff here, but I doubt it. Potentially. Yeah, see, this is what I expect to happen a lot of the time. So I don't know, but I'm filling out the grid just in case. And, yeah, like, this is what I expect to have happen most of the time. You can even tell that a lot of them go to the same places over and over again. The loop is interesting. I really do like dark ambient. It's nice. But then I am the kind of person who likes really dark, stormy places. I like overcast weather. In my mind, those two concepts are like intricately connected, and I could not articulate why more than that. Just like, well, you know, I like dark ambient. I find it relaxing, just like heavy clouds. Like, that chain of equivalence makes some sense, but not too much sense. Wouldn't say it's nonsense either, but, you know. Okay. Here's this zone. We thoroughly explored that. I feel. That feels thoroughly explored. There are probably not too many places I haven't found in here. So I think I can probably... I'm probably good to just go straight here and thoroughly explore the red key zone a little bit more. Salamiaki says, you would like Finland in the winter. Well, here's where I have a problem. I may like overcast weather, but I don't like it when the day is short. I forget if Finland has short day winters, but I think it does. I need daylight even if I want a giant diffuser smacked on top of it. That's my problem. Like, overcast weather is just so nice to me. Like, it is so... So I guess it's extremely short day winters. And Lapland has it that the daylight just doesn't happen for a while. Yeah, see, that's where I would crash out. I get sad really hard. Seasonal affective disorder hits me fairly strongly. Which makes sense. I was born in the equator, right? So, I like it cloudy, but I do like a long day. A long, cloudy day. Yeah, we're back here. Yeah, we don't need to... We don't need to get too weird with it. Alright, we're back here. This place is smaller. And to be fair, anything that gets too repetitious always completely fucks me over. So that's another thing. I would say I love long, cloudy days, and then if I move to a place where it, like, rains 340 days out of the year, I would go insane. Monotony is one of my big bugbears. To my own detriment. Salamiaki says, Finland isn't like that anymore, which implies that Finland used to be like that. Finland could have been like that once, but it isn't any longer. So I guess winters used to be very monotonous in the sense that snow was everywhere the entire time, and it would start snowing in October even. Now it's a coin toss of whether there's a lot of snow and what consistency it is, etc. And summers can be very rainy or very hot. I see. Well, I wonder what winter was like the December of 1993 that Doom dropped in Finland. Because I think that Helsinki is the city on Earth with the most cackle words per capita. I think that this is true. I think there is no city on Earth besides Helsinki where there are so many cackle word winners. And memorable Doom mappers. Sally Miyake says, I'll ask my mom if she remembers. I don't know if she will. This might be a question for historical weather data. Because something had to have happened to make it... It's like... And yeah, there are Norwegian Doom mappers, right? Almost all the Nordic countries are represented when it comes to Doom. As are the Russian mappers. And the Ukrainian mappers. Basically, anywhere in Europe where it gets really cold, there's a lot of Doomers that like it. So Mega says, she remembers one winter that was one of the coldest in Helsinki. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, there's a lot of stories that people tell about, like, oh yeah, my entire place, like, my entire, like, workplace was shut down because of Doom. Right? And I'm like, would that make more sense in a place like Helsinki? Would that make a lot more sense in a place that it gets very cold? Like, it gets fucking brutally cold. And before, like, 2010 or so, people just were not fucking comfortable inside of buildings for any length of time. Like, yeah, people work hard everywhere on Earth, right? So America says, nah, some games have that power. Dragon Quest was like that in Japan. True. Japan is not like Helsinki in terms of its winters. So, maybe it was a universal phenomenon. But I do wonder if the weather has something to do with the prevalence of Doom mappers in specifically Finland. What is it about Doom mapping that really, really jived with people? Because, like, there was Christianaro, whose Brotherhood of Ruin franchise we explored. Quarter century of Doom mapping experience right there. There's Moomy, obviously. You know about Moomy. There's a few other Finns that I can think of off the top of my head that have won CAC awards. And by that, I mean I forget their names. So I can't actually think of them off the top of my head, but I know that they're there. I know that they exist. So Miyake says, I think part of the Doom fascination in Finland is also our love of metal music. I mean, that's the obvious thing, right? But then the Norwegians have a much reduced... Wait a minute. Ah, here's the brain guy. Here's the brain guy, but we haven't been here. Salamiaga says, Norwegians are weirder about metal anyways. And Salamiaga says, the demon imagery kind of goes hand in hand with that. I mean, to be fair, they were like playing metal when they were doing Doom and things like that. So it's not crazy. It's not an insane set of suggestions to make. Wait, but if there's a brain in here, then that does imply that this could really fuck someone over if they weren't doing what I was doing. If you treat this like an actual maze, it's gonna fuck you up so bad. But yeah, no, there's Norwegians who are famous in Doom. Like, there are a lot of famous Norwegians in Doom. It's true. But I don't feel that it's as many as Finns. That's why I think it's like, oh, the metal culture isn't quite the explanation. But I don't know what else it could be. It might have been like a seasonal thing. Maybe it was a really cold winter in Finland. Everybody was snowed in more so than usual. And they were like, fuck it, let's map. But then it would have been exactly 1993. Though then again, it could have been like a series of very strong winters. And I mean, to be fair, 93 was, from what you've told me about the economy, things would have been a little sketchy. Samayaki says, now you also have to remember that Finland hasn't really had the concept of being snowed in. True. Lots of snow and it's slippery, you go to school or work anyway. Well, really, I mean, you say that, but the thing is that it can always snow more. It can always snow harder. Like, I respect the human impulse to be like, yeah, here in our geographical locality, we deal with the problem. We deal with the problem of nature. Trust me, I'm in Colorado, so I know. However, you also have to consider the fact that nature can always be like, yes and, or yes but, or eventually just no actually. So I guess I have to ask my mom if maybe it was different like in the past couple of years before I was born, but I've never ever gotten time off because of winter. And I believe that most of the time. I don't think that you would get time off all winter or anything like that. But like blizzards happen everywhere, and blizzards can be fucking crazy anywhere. Like, people in Denver don't tend to get time off because it snowed. Unless it's, like, first snow of the season, right? Like, then maybe. And even that is more of a recent thing. Like, that did not happen when I was an adolescent, right? That's not how we used to play it. However, some days there will just be a blizzard. Some days there will just be the most fuck-off nightmarish weather you've ever imagined. And then it's like, well, deal with it. Deal with it. So I don't know. So like he says, I've had to go to school during a blizzard. We don't give a fuck. See, again, it's a blizzard. A blizzard is not the same as every blizzard. Because it might not be about snowfall. It might not be about blizzard, like, it might not be just like, oh, it's snowing hard. But a lot of things go into a blizzard, right? A blizzard is an ice storm, first and foremost. Hello? Where am I? Am I here? Where is here? This is not where I want to be. Here's where I want... Maybe... No. Here's where I want to be, probably. Holy shit, this is confusing. This is tremendously confusing. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it could be. But I do know that Finland has a lot more doomers than everywhere else. Well, that's not quite true. But they have a lot more really good mappers than most places. And I'd love to know what it is about Finland that makes that a possibility. Part of it was, I'm sure, that computer adoption was relatively high in Finland compared to everywhere else on the planet. Okay, here we go. Save state here. If we go back, what happens? We go back. Okay. So like it says, yeah, we had a lot of computers. This I do not doubt. Okay. Then we go here, 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 here. So yeah, that was one half of this. One half of it. What the other half of it was, I don't know. There are potentialities, right? So you've got like right, left. And that could have something to do with this. Right? That could have something to do with these compasses, right? So like right, left. But I don't know how to parse this out. Because you've got the big up arrow in the center. And you've got the opposite force arrow that way, right? So I don't know if the idea is that... Okay. One possibility that I envision, right, is if each one is a two-part puzzle, right? Then it is potentially the case that what you have to do is you start from one end. So, like, to get right, left, you would, like, start here and, well, that would be right, left. Okay. Like, that's a possibility, right? Or, like, over here, it would be, like, left, right, right? So then that could be, like, left, right, and then you go up here, and then you do it. I don't know. That's the problem that I'm having. The problem that I'm having is that I don't know. And then there's these internecine ones, right? Read on the consequences of definitely seems like one of those that might win a CAC award, but might not. Okay, but how far in did I get? Not very. So yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to run across or not. Like, it doesn't seem like much of a puzzle to me. What is that, a red key card? Keep alt-tabbing instead of anything else. Whoa, I got to the end. Wait a minute, I got to the end. That's not gonna work. Okay. Well, that's not it. I will say, this is a very pretty room. It's also got to be a hell of a stress test for computer. So this room is the same as it ever was. Okay, we have a situation that's like the other situation. Whereas, up in the house zone, we have probably two segments like before, but one of them is down. So my prediction is one of the two segments will be important to, like, the two segments will be important to lifting the back one, but you have to solve the puzzle first to get it to happen. So Mayaka says, it reminds me of being under a lot of trees blocking the sky. And there, it is given that vibe. So yeah, in this puzzle, we are given a sidedness and a shape. We have left wall here, then right wall here, then down wall here, then up wall here. And then we have 25 houses. And, yeah. We have 25 houses. And they're all identical. And whenever Doom Guy touches a regular wall, he goes. But whenever he touches this, he goes. When he touches this, he goes. So that means that something is special about these walls. But what? I don't know. The only thing that I can tell is that they're somehow connected to the sequence of information. We got red wall, left, right, down, up. Now, as you may notice though, and this is one of the puzzles, these are triple. Like, these are three-sided. You've got this side, this side, this side, and this side. And this side has a hole in it. Which implies, potentially, in the optimistic case, right, that you can touch this wall or this wall and get the same thing. That's a possibility. Now, if that's what we're looking at, I have good news, which is that this wall is exactly the same size as this wall. They're the same size. They are 3 blocks long, and this is 3 blocks long. In fact, you could even tell they're 3 blocks long. Here's block 1. Then here's block 2. Then here's block 3. So that is encouraging information that potentially, if we just ignore this hole, right, that could be one of the ways that it is. But can we ignore this hole? I don't know. Given how long the simplest puzzles have taken me to solve so far, the simplest puzzle was the Lost Soul herding over here, where there's a lost soul in an invisible maze, and given my amazing power to compress time tenfold, I was able to do it pretty quickly. He was a little bit of a shit sometimes, and would just automatically restart, and that would fuck me over. Then there was this maze. I knew the answer from moment 1, and it still took me like... what was that? 90 minutes? I would say it took me 90 minutes. And then there's this one. So I don't know how much process of elimination might factor into this. I don't know how many ways this could work. Because even if you do, assume that the walls are interior walls, that still leaves you with a lot of unanswered questions. Like, is this like an outside? Like, is this a 3x1? What is this? And the answer that I have is I have no fucking idea what this is. I have no fucking clue what this is. Now, we've got MVGs, we've got armors, and then we've got Rorbs. And we've got a lot of them, too. So many. Holy shit. Now, I heard from Grapes that one of the maps in the map set uses night vision goggles as a way to solve the puzzles. I think this might be it. I think what you might have to do is you might have to use the armors and the night vision goggles to survive in here and in here. Right? And then use that to go to all 3 and solve the puzzles there. That's a possibility. But I don't know. And most of all, I don't know what the fuck the house. I don't know what the fuck the house. Because it's a very multivariate problem, right? Specifically because it does a lot of things that you wouldn't expect it to do. There's a lot of information that might be irrelevant. We've got this middle section here. That's right down the middle, right? All these squares, like this is set up on a grid of equal size. And this is right in the middle. This is not. This is almost exactly halfway down the middle, though. So that's one that might be some story to it, right? And so it's like, if you want to imagine a T, right, out of these, you can't. Because you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And even if you want to imagine like a truncated T, you've got like 1, 2, okay, and then like, yeah, so you could do like 1, then 2, then 1 again, potentially, then 1 up here, right? And it's like, so that could take place in a lot of spots, right? And it would be like, yeah. So I'm not sure that it's that. It's not one single room, potentially. Because if it were, I mean, that's another way you could do it, right? Just make it so that it's a single room. Like, the order is there, and it's any one of these 25 will do the same thing. Right? That's the red herring hypothesis. But that one's fairly easy to disprove, right? Which is just do, like, left, then right, then down, then up. So that'd be like left, right, down, up. As you can see, this is not raised. So we can rule out some variants of the red herring hypothesis. The specific house, there might be some correlation between houses and switches pressed. Now, how that might work, I don't know. Because there are a lot of ways to set up switch puzzles, right? So it could be that along these 25, there are a sequence of switches that'll do it. Now, Grapes has told me you will know it when you've solved it. So, when you've solved it, you'll know that there's a difference. And until then, it will reset. Now, things that I have done include mapping these out and just going into every wall and just trying that. That didn't work out. However, there are a few ways that I could have done it. I only did a handful of them. So, it's potentially the case that I was onto something, and I do have to do what I said, just with the interior walls. Because again, they are 3 map units wide, so you could. Now, I will also point out that the way the Doom's, sector stuff works, it could be that the interior and the exterior are the same switch. They could be hooked up to the same switch. There's no reason for it to matter if it doesn't want if the mapper doesn't want it to matter, right? So yeah, we've got a T-junction. And then of course there is the null spot, right? Which is frustrating to think about, but important to think about, right? And what the null spot is a spot in the middle of the T-junction where fucking nothing is happening, right? Now what does that mean? I don't know, right? Because it's right here. Here's a spot that is a bit of a crossroads, and there's nothing going on. So, what does that point to? I don't know. I don't know what that points to. I don't know if that is a spatial necessity, or if that can be somehow put into interpretable language, as it were. Because, yeah, you've got left, then right, then down, then up. Okay? If we've got left, then right, then down, then up, then there could be a few ways to interpret it. There could be a few ways to parse that. But yeah, I don't know for sure. Because then you've got this 5x5 grid. And yes, I am using pen and paper. And I have thought about grabbing my tablet, but I don't know. Right? I mean, you know what? Sure. I'll grab my tablet. I'll grab my drawing tablet for you all, so that we can all do this together. And it'll be a collaborative stream adventure. And we can see if we can all see together something that I have missed. BRB. Okay. I've got my tablet. Now I need my headphones. What do you mean by that? No. Do you read me, Major Tom? Okay, you read me, Major Tom. Okay. So let's go. I don't need Xbox Game Pass. I need the search function. Goddammit. Is there a minimize shortcut? Is there a minimize shortcut? Because I would very much like there to be one in Windows. Okay. Okay. Oh, here we go. That'll do it. Paint.net. Every discerning artist's favorite tool. Krita Corel Painter that I have on my laptop? No. We're using Paint, but not just any Paint. Paint.net. Why? Why not, buddy? Why not? Okay. Window capture. Window, Paint.net. Yeah? Yeah, are you sure about that? I am not sure about that. Can you not see the... Does the canvas not... The canvas does not render. That's beautiful. What the fuck? Alright. Majesco. Majesco Elysium there. Let's do more window captures, I guess. Yeah, no. That's fucking beautiful. Okay, well, Paint.net is a little bit too advanced for OBS. So we're just going to go straight to Paint. We're going to go back to basics. Deedopian Sky says, I miss Paint Shop Pro, but now I am somewhat learning GIMP. I have Paint Shop Pro, but I don't understand it. Because Paint Shop Pro appears to just be like a photo... Like, it seems to be like a Lightroom alternative these days. Like, whatever Corel did to it has become different than it was. Don't mind my pen just falling on the floor. That's fine. Now we're true streamers. Now we're big streamers like Pirate Software. The Utopian Sky says, yeah, I used back in the Jask days. I see. Okay, cool. So Windows 10 Paint doesn't let you resize the window. What the fuck? Alright, that's cool. That's cool, everybody. That's cool. It's so cool. We're okay. I'm fine. There it is. Welcome, Paint. I'm just gonna keep it sloppily slapped on top of the thing. I think that's fine. I think we've earned being a little sloppy. Now you know what else we've earned. Just yeah, you know what? Fine, fuck it. Okay. So Majesco. Oh yeah, this is weird. Okay, whatever. I don't know if this thing just hasn't been properly calibrated yet, but anyways. Welcome to drawing class, everybody. I'm Defers, and oh shit, that was almost impressive for a little bit there. Then I got too self-conscious and fucked it up. Okay. So this is the situation we're in right now. We've got something over here. Something over here. Something over here. Something over here. And then, lest I forget... Okay, sick. Fucking beautiful. Yeah, that'll be fine. Then we got this going on down here. I don't know if that's relevant or not. But if, in the spirit of fairness, we should also point out that we have the prize room up here. And the prize room may or may not be part of whatever visual communication we've got going on. We don't know. So I'm going to leave that ambiguous. Okay. So, in addition to that... Also, don't pause the chat due to scroll. There we go. God damn, man. You would think that I had not used this thing for 30 days straight in Art Fight, but here we are. To be fair, it does take a little bit of like locking in to get the right position. Okay. That's not quite the right size, but That's what we've got this for. We can just do this. Okay. That might be... that's a little too big, but that ought to be okay. And then just... let's make it a little bit more square. Oh my god, that's eye searing. Paint. I don't know what happened to you, man. Paint is like an old friend you revisit who peaked in high school. You know what I'm saying? You used to hang out and spend a lot of time together, but boy, what are you doing? And I say this as someone who's trying and failing to stream professionally, right? That's paint to me. Okay. So maybe we can Control-C and Control-V this, and it'll be working. Yeah, okay. I can work with this. Okay. Okay. Now, the smart play is to do this like I used to do back in my Roblox days. And just reselect the whole thing. Just, yeah. That's a fun Defers fact. I used to be big into Roblox. My secret is that I was into it way before it got big. Okay. So, assuming the hypothesis that, you know, we're working with interiors, we have a blank slate, more or less. Okay. So, for reasons that we cannot fathom, right, not that. Don't do that, no. For reasons that we cannot fathom, the entryway is right here, and then the, like, exit is right over here. So I don't know how to parse this. So, assuming that we take the notion of the entry to be, you know, correct, the problem that we have here is that we have a lot going on. We basically only have, like, a 3x3 here, and that could go anywhere in this. It's a good thing you can see my cursor. That makes this a little bit less annoying. So, like, how do we start our assumptions? I don't know. There are a lot of ways that we could do this, right? So, like, we'll use different colors to separate different hypotheses. That is one thing that I do like about paint for this purpose. We'll start here, right? So, like, this is the left wall looking down, assuming that this, right? So, like, yeah, sure. Door aligned, right? These to say is door aligned. And our assumptions are... This is Doom, by the way. This is what we're doing. Look at that aliasing. Wonder if it shows up on stream, right? So, starting from this is the left, right? Then the next one would be the right, right? With me so far? Then we skip this one, right? And then we do, like... Okay, so that would be interior here, interior here. Then you could do... here, right? And down here. That's one possibility. Now, I don't like this, because then you could repeat this pattern anywhere. Right? And this is starting from here, right? But you see my problem. Then there's thesis B. Map aligned. So thesis B is much like thesis A, except it just has slightly different connotations, right? At that point, you just do... Sure, we'll do it over here so that it's legible, right? Well, I mean, we don't necessarily even have to do that, right? But yeah. Like, it would be something like... Sure, we can do it like here, right? Like, you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and then you do this, right? I don't know that that's the case. Then there was the exterior walls thesis, right? Which, sure, I'll pick another color. Right? Which is that these are like an alignment of sort of different locations. So that could be something like... So basically we ignore these ones and then we go like, here's one, then here's one, then here's one, and here's one, right? Obviously this still has the problem of we have these openings, right? So unless we can encode rotation somehow in this original matrix, I don't see what else we do. And obviously, this one has the appeal of having like more spaces in it, and even then I have fucked it up. Because if that is the case, right, then it wouldn't be like this. It would actually be like... Yeah, I don't know why fucking... Yeah. I don't know why fucking paint.net isn't working anymore, but it would actually be like... Yeah, see, this is one of the confusing ones. It would be like here and then here, right? That could be a possibility. But again, this can go in any number of different places. And I don't know if they're all connected to one another or what. It's like, because of the way that Doom works, any of these switches could, in theory, do the same thing. So, like, he could just have it so that it's a tessellating pattern, right? And it just looks for the relationships in between them. But even then, that would just, like, go down to, like, here, then here, then here, then here, right? Assuming, if you assume that he can tell, right? So I guess that's another assumption we can write down. He can tell... Right? Interior walls, he can tell houses apart. If he can't tell houses apart, then we should be able to do, like, just one room. And in which case, it would be something like, yeah. One guy. So in that case, it would be like, if we start from here, it'd be like left. Okay, well, in that case, you'd want like A, B, then C, then D, right? But we've tried that various times. We haven't tried that with that alignment. So, right? And that's one guy, DA, right? If we instead wanted one guy... right. If we instead wanted, like... thesis E... one guy MA. It would instead be like, I don't know, A, B, C, D, right? Deets lurking. No worries, I don't begrudge you that one bit, right? So, like, that's another thing. We could also construct a thesis F that it tries to expand the grid. Well, actually, no, I can't actually explain that one yet, so I'll try not to. I'll try not to half-ass it, because so far we are already assuming a 4 grid here, right? We're assuming like a set of, yeah, sure, I'll do this. We have like a uniform grid of points above right? And the only reason that I think this is because we're assuming, yeah, we're assuming interior walls. We're assuming he can tell houses apart. If we don't, we can do this. We can do this series. Also, I just did the same thing twice. What the fuck was I on? A, B, C, D, as opposed to, you know, what the fuck was I on? If it's map aligned, it's just A, B, C, D. If it's not map aligned, it'll be our left, and then the right, right? No, but left here, from here, should in theory be, one guy, DA, is fucked up. So it's good that I caught that, I think. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know that it matters, if I can be honest with you. Right? But yeah, we can go back to door aligned and let's see. It'll be on our left, so that's A. Okay. We don't have the same pen, but we'll deal with it. Okay, A, B, then it'd be C as in behind us, then D as in front of us, right? So that's one thesis. So let's work through these. Okay, and then one working assumption so far has been relative space, right? And the reason for that is I can't figure out a way to construct a 5 grid out of this. The most that we can do is a 4 grid, a 4x3 grid, right? And that would be like, okay, we can probably do like a light gray, something like this, right? Hopefully this doesn't get too hard to parse later on, right? And then there are some questions, right? So like, alignment. Grid parsing. That kind of thing. Are we right about exteriors? Rotation schemas. Because so far, this has assumed that there is no rotation schema available, right? This is assumed that we treat this like an equivalent to a door. Which, you know, is that the case? I hope this has been some of the most riveting and unique Doom gameplay that you all have ever encountered. I'm fascinated. This is what it's all about, right? This is when I think of Doom, I think of opening up MS Paint with Doom in the background, drawing a diagram, and going from there. What could be more than this? I'll tell you what. This is the height of dooming. This is what it's all about. So anyways, we're going to dump... I'm going to hold on to this for a second while we pursue some of the theses that have thus been outlined. I wish to hide window capture for now because we'll probably need it again. I'm going to move it over to here, so if I become a little bit less responsive, don't mind me, or forgive me, rather. But, yeah. Can you all see this? Yes, you can all see this. Good. Alright. Let's test Thesis 1. Bam. Okay. Now, bam. Okay. Now, bam. Okay. Now, bam. I appear to have fucked that up. Beg your pardon. Let's check to make sure that nothing has changed. Nope, nothing has changed. A fucked up version of what I hypothetically surmise might be the case has not, you know, magically rendered results. Does this even make sense? I don't think that it does. Because in theory it should be like this, right? And then like this, right? Did I fuck up my drawing? And like this, right? And then like this. That didn't do shit out here. So I don't think that's it, right? Yeah. Man, I really fucked up my drawing, huh? Except did I? No, because that's this. And this. Then this. Then this. Now that should be good, and then we've got 2 more rows ahead of us, so that doesn't do it. Right? That's definitely not the case. Now we could test the map-aligned thesis instead. So that'll be here, right? Yeah. And then here it'd be like this. Then this. Right. Then this. Then this. Right? No change so far. So door aligned and map aligned have not done any good. Now we've picked an arbitrary set of criteria for, you know, exterior walls. On the basis that it could be based on the starting orientation if you have enough room, right? And in that case, you'd start here. You'd hit this one. Then you'd go here. Here. Hit this one, right? Then go here. No. No, 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 no. You'd go here. Hit this one. Right? Have I completely botched this? No, not quite. This one's one of the tougher ones. Then you go here. Nothing has changed. So, exterior walls thesis, all of these so far have been proceeding off the assumption that you can just do the whatever and it'll work. Right? No dice so far. Then we got the one guy thesis, right? Which is just A, B, C, D. No change observed. Okay. And then we've got A, B, C, D. No change observed. Right? So, our preliminary conclusions have to be, right? Let's bring back the MS Paint document. We're scholars out here, all right? Okay. Sequence must matter. Okay? No brute force will work. Must be some way. That's an incredible Y. That's a W with a Y stem. What the fuck? That's crazy. That's the craziest Y I've ever drawn. There must be some way to align solution grid to problem grid with at most like approximately two equally viable attempts. Right? But maybe 4 though? Right? So I don't know how you do this, right? It's clear that this one, for example, is way too overconstrained, because this one, or under-constrained, because you can just shove this. This one's another 3x4 grid. All the answers that we have so far produced are either 3x3 grids or 3x4 grids, right? Like this fits into a 3x3 grid, so you can put it anywhere. This one fits into a 4x3 grid, so you can put it mostly anywhere. 4 at most, right? So we have no way of constraining these, because like the most you could say is, okay, maybe there's a grid of this many, right? Right? So like these imply this, right? You could do that. But if you do that, not only do you eliminate these grids from play, you have to also consider, of course, their right rotations, but we won't worry about that too much. Like, okay, we've got 4s, so it could be this one, like it could be down, yeah, sure, we'll do this, right? Could be like down here. Or up here. So like either all the action takes place south of this line or north of this one. One of those two, and then you only use the center 3. That's a possibility, but I don't know, right? So like, you could extend this graph out, but there's nothing in there that necessarily implies it. And I've already tried like this and then this, and neither of those worked the first time that I did it. So, yeah, I don't know. And, like, this is not even counting. Like, this is Not even counting exterior walls, walkover line defs, external to puzzle room stuff. So like, I don't know about you, but I think that all that is sus. I don't know what to say. Grape says, I'll save some sanity and say that it does not involve walkover lines or leaving that room. Alright, cool. So we can rule that one out. And we can rule down... Well, no, we can't... We very explicitly cannot rule this one out. Absolutely not. Okay. So we can rule this one out. We can rule this one out. And that leaves this one as the big huh. Potentially there's something there. And my only argument against this is... Okay. So that's that. And then, yeah. So, no walkover lines. So it has something to do with the walls of the houses in here. Interior or exterior. The only thing that... The only reason that I'm discounting exterior walls is because of the size similarity, right? But other than that, I don't know. I don't know how we align this grid, and I don't know what to do. I can't think of anything yet. And the only thing that I can imagine to do is brute force. Like, right? Even then, since sequence must matter, we cannot discount the possibility that order must matter as well. All of our attempts so far have proceeded from the assumption that we go from here over to here, because if we go this way, that produces a different set of lines. And that's a lot of combinatorial explosion. The only thing that I can, like... There's very little going on here that I would say, yeah, you know. Like... I'm still missing some critical detail. Because there are simply too many alternatives so far for that to be all that there is. You know? So yeah. These... Grape says, got a dip, but you've made good progress, and even that graphic shows promise. I actually solved this puzzle by mistake. Well, thanks again for the streams. Thanks for dropping by. I'm probably going to wrap it up here tonight and just ferment on this for a little bit. So, y'all have a good one, and thanks for sticking around. I'll see you tomorrow with more of this, I guess. Till then, stay safe, everybody, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.